8 billion people stand shoulder to shoulder. A global countdown hits zero. Everyone jumps toward the moon at once. The collective effort is immense. The air shudders, gravity resists. The Earth feels a momentary, microscopic nudge. This is the start of the end. Logistics prove impossible. People must be packed into a square about the size of Rhode Island. The crowd is dense, breathing becomes a luxury. The jump happens, 8 billion pairs of feet push off the crust, a massive shockwave ripples through the ground. Windows shatter for miles. The sound is a singular bone-rattling thud that echoes across the continental shelf. It sounds like a god dropping a heavy book. Newton's third law takes over. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The Earth is pushed away from the jumpers, however the mass of the planet is 6 sextillion tons. Humans are tiny. The planet moves about 1/100th the width of a single hydrogen atom. The orbital shift is effectively zero, but the landing is the real problem. Everyone comes down at once. The concentrated force creates a seismic event. The ground doesn't just shake. It liquefies. Tectonic plates groan under the sudden, synchronized pressure of 8 billion landing bodies. Most people survive the jump. The physics of the orbit are boring. The real tragedy is the commute. Everyone is now stuck in a giant, human-shaped traffic jam in Rhode Island. There are no bathrooms, there are no snacks. The situation becomes tense very quickly. The landing shockwave triggers a global disaster. The crust buckles. Localized earthquakes erupt. The sudden pressure shift in the soil sends a shock through the lithosphere. Cities nearby collapse. The synchronized thud acts like a giant hammer hitting a bell. This resonance travels through the mantle. Magma chambers are agitated. Long dormant volcanoes decide today is a great day to wake up. Ash clouds blot out the sun. The temperature drops. The atmosphere fills with sulfuric acid. The jump was a success. The aftermath is slightly less successful. People start arguing about who jumped the lowest. The social order dissolves into chaos as the ground continues to vibrate. Air displacement becomes the next crisis. 8 billion people jumping creates a massive column of air moving upward. This is a man-made atmospheric piston. The sudden vacuum left behind sucks in surrounding air at supersonic speeds. A global windstorm erupts. Gale force winds shred clothing and skin. The air pressure drops so sharply that eardrums rupture simultaneously across the crowd. This creates a collective, agonizing pop. Then the air slams back down. The downward gust hits with the force of 1,000 hurricanes. Houses are flattened, forests are leveled. The pressure wave travels across the ocean, creating a series of modest tsunamis. Fish are confused. The climate is now permanently altered. The atmospheric composition shifts as dust and debris are launched into the stratosphere. The sun becomes a dim, orange smudge. The chaos scales. The mass of humans in one spot creates its own gravitational anomaly. Not enough to orbit, but enough to make the local geology scream. The ground sinks. A massive crater forms where the crowd stood. The displaced Earth pushes upward elsewhere. Mountains grow by a few millimeters. Then the pandemics start. 8 billion people in a small area is a biological nightmare. Every known virus exchanges data. A new superstrain of the common cold emerges. It makes people sneeze with the force of a small explosion. The sneezing triggers further seismic activity. The Earth is now a vibrating ball of snot and volcanic ash. The oceans begin to boil as the core's stability is compromised by the erratic crustal movements. The moon watches in silence. The lunar surface remains undisturbed. The moon didn't even feel the nudge. The humans, however, feel everything. The crust finally fractures. Great fissures open up, swallowing the remaining crowd. The dust eventually settles. The Earth is a wasteland of ash, craters, and very confused survivors. The total orbital displacement of the planet was practically zero. The moon remains in its original position. The grand experiment failed to move the world. Instead, it just broke the world. The energy released was equivalent to several thousand nuclear warheads. In the end, the only lasting impact is legal. The Rhode Island government issues a massive fine to the survivors. The charge is jumping without a permit. The fine is $10 per person. The total debt exceeds $80 billion. The planet is ruined, but the paperwork is complete. Subscribe to the What If Club. Next time we see what happens if you eat a star.